Hello and welcome. This is a video just starring me, Matthew, and today I'm going to be giving you a look at the locomotive fleet on my layout, Agnot Heritage Centre. This Hornby 060 is probably the most famous locomotive of them all. I got this in the Thomas and Friends Thomas and Goods train set, I think it was called. It basically came with Thomas, Annie Clarabelle, and a load of goods trucks, basically, and with the outer loop and track mat and everything. And that is why my layout is closely based on that particular layout. It just has a few alterations here and there. But yes, this was my first loco, quite fitting as it is number one, and yeah, it was a good runner when I first got it. For the last year or two, it's been pretty much out of service because it just does not run well at all, and so it kind of just sits around doing nothing really. Occasionally I have to put on days out with Thomas type events because we sometimes have quite young children over, relatives of parents, friends and whatnot. And so this just sits in the yard while I decorate all the other locos with faces. But for a good 3 years at least, this ran well and provided a good service, pulling the freight it was required to. I got this locomotive at Christmas 2010. The second locomotive in my collection, it was won at a raffle on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. I think it was their 40th anniversary gala or something. And we won this in an auction. It didn't come with the original box, not even polystyrene. It was just a Hornby tender locomotive, the cardboard bit with a cracked window and broken ends. But we managed to get it home from the Isle of Wight, and it now runs on my layout. For a good while it ran, but then it went out of service due to bad track and poor wheels. And then, as memory played tricks on me, I seemed to get the idea that it was just a bad runner, and so it didn't run for at least a year. However, recently I've got it back in service due to getting a lot of track work done to get it to the standards these older locomotives like to run at, and also cleaning the wheels, oiling it, etc., giving it a good service. And I'm quite proud of this locomotive, and I actually really like it. This was locomotive number 3. It's the Flying Scotsman. Again, one of those locos that just everybody has. I also got this at the Isle of Wight Steam Railway 40th anniversary thing. However, we bought this at a trade stand, and I got it for my birthday that year. Coincidentally, that year I got whooping cough of my birthday, and so I got the whole week off school of my birthday to play with my new trains, which was quite good. But I got this in a couple of Pullman carriages as well, and the rest of the track layout. But yeah, this locomotive is one of the main runners I have in the fleet. The oldest main runner in terms of how long I've had them. However, I've probably got locos that are slightly older than this, but acquired after this or whatever, But yeah, this is one of the main pullers of main locomotives of my collection. It's a bit of a generic thing to have, but it's a really reliable locomotive, and it hardly ever stalls on me. So I'm always just using it. It's really nice to run, and it fits in with the Preservation Society aspect of my layout. Here we have the fourth locomotive that I got. This came with the Hornby Collectors Club. Also got this 2011, however it didn't arrive in the post until just after my birthday. And so yeah, I got this. This was the 040, obviously, Shunter. I gave the freight stuff I had at the time to this locomotive. I just ran it as a loco. Not much to say about it really, it's just one of those generic Hornby 040s that goes wrong or bad runners after a few years of service. However, it isn't a bad runner. To be honest, the only running time it gets really is the February Freight Gala that I run, which coincidentally this year is happening in March due to another big event that will be announced soon, happening on this layout, which means that gala has to be postponed to a different month. But yeah, this usually just sits around, not really doing much for most of its life, because I prefer to run passenger stock. This locomotive once got weathered, but it was really bad. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, and I covered it in water paints, and it went grey and horrible. The paint, though, I managed to peel off, so that was a relief. And it's also had its cab painted. Its fireman crew and driver, the plastic figures that come with the locomotive, painted and fitted inside the cab. This class of locomotive is probably famous for its appearance in the Tit for Thunderbolt movie. This isn't the one that was used in the film, but it is obviously the same class. This is the Hornby 14XX. From this point on, I've actually forgotten which order I got my locos in, although the first ones I can remember due to sentimental value, but from this point on, I can't really remember which order I got them in. But yeah, this is one of the only permanent static display locomotives on my layout. Since it stopped running after I'd had it about a year, it stopped running well, and then one of the traction tyres fell off, and it's currently awaiting an overhaul at the Sharpsbridge Model Railway. Fingers crossed, that is. It just needs some light repair work to it, I think, but at the moment I try to run it and it just judders about all over the place, and it doesn't run very well. So yeah, I just keep it as a looker in the static display locomotive. Not much to say about it really, other than the fact that it goes wrong quickly. Even the Hornby instructions say that it's going to go wrong after about a year of service or something. So yeah, I've just had it lying around on my layout for ages, but I want to get it running again soon because it's Great Western, and it's the only Great Western I've got in British rails. So it's it makes it unique to everything else I have. The Blue Pullman 040, the 06 class, is something I got, I think it was my birthday one year, or Christmas or something. It's obviously an old Hornby Collectors Club locomotive, however I got it second hand because I quite liked it, and I think it was the first of the shunters that I got, but I can't be too sure on that. Yeah, this got replaced by the 08, and I decided to weather it, and the weathering I've done on it isn't that bad. So I've kept it in it though because it's decent, However, my 08's gone slightly wrong. I think the same thing's happening to it with the Thomas locomotive, because the 08's a railroad loco, so it would obviously have the same mechanics inside, and so that's so the 06 has replaced it as my main shunter again. It's not a bad runner at all. After I got the 08, this just sat around static display, but now it's back in service again, now that the 08 started to go a bit wrong. It's a nice livery. I actually really like this livery. Only a few liveries of diesel I actually like, and this is one of them, and so yeah, that's why I've got it. Another movie star class locomotive. This is the Hall class, more specifically Alton Hall, which, as I'm sure you all know, was the Hogwarts Express in Harry Potter. I don't have this locomotive because I like Harry Potter. This was actually given to me by Samuel Sharp, as in the other person who runs this channel. So yeah, that was really kind of him, and it's a really good runner. Being Great Western, it's obviously one of the main runners of the layout. Great Western's what I tend to run most. However, I do take up my Flying Scotsman occasionally. But yeah, this is really nice. I've only had it a short amount of time, and already it's been in several combinations of locomotives running daily services kind of thing. There's not much I can say about it because there hasn't really been anything wrong, although the fact that the tender and the locomotive are permanently connected for the pickup reasons is quite annoying and a bit misleading, especially seeing as this was a railroad model that surely a fan of Harry Potter would want as opposed to a hardcore railway enthusiast, and they might be misguided into thinking they're separate, and possibly it could be broken. However, I'm, more experienced in the world of model railways, and so it doesn't really bother me too much. We have here, it's quite another generic locomotive. When I started out on the layout, I really only knew the famous ones, but as I've obviously come to get to grips with the whole world of model railways, I've refined what I like. But yeah, this is the Mallard locomotive. Getting this locomotive was quite a story, because originally I was going to get the Hornby LNER Garter Blue, I think it's Garter Blue anyway, A4 Pacific, 4468, yes it is, 4468 LNER obviously. However, after about 15 minutes of running, the linkage rods over the wheels broke, and so that had to go back to the shop, and Dad and I decided that we would get the railroad model, which annoyingly though was in the British Railways green. We then discovered that this locomotive was DCC fitted, and so that had to go back, and we scoured eBay for a second-hand cheapo, obviously, a second-hand Mallard that we could find, and we came across this. So we scoured eBay for a cheaper Mallard, and we came across this. It came in the Mallard train set. It came with 2 coaches, ex-LNER coaches I think they were. It didn't come with any of the track or anything, but it did come in the packaging. And it's tender drive, which is quite annoying, as I'm sure you can all imagine. Although it is in quite a unique livery for the Mallard to be seen in. It's in the same livery as Sir Nigel Gresley. It's early BR 60022. I don't actually know that number off by heart, that's quite bad, but yeah, that's what livery it's in. It's okay as a runner. I don't usually run it unless it's requested by anyone, because occasionally I have railway enthusiasts over and they like to see it running. But yeah, I just usually have it on static display, I just say I've got it to have a Mallard locomotive. The wheels also keep jamming up at random intervals, which is quite annoying, the linkage, and so you have to reverse it to then unlock them. So yeah, it's quite inconvenient to run, but it's not a bad looker. I do like the LNER locomotives. LNER and GWR are probably my favourites, and so yeah, I'm not embarrassed to have this and Fly a Scotsman on my layout, even though they are the generic locomotives. I do like them, and if I get the chance to have a better Mallard, I will, but this does the job for now, and I like it. This was the last Hornby Collectors Club locomotive that the club gave out for free before they got the new admin team in, who went and changed everything. However, more than that in a different video. This is quite a nice locomotive, the only southern region locomotive I have, even though obviously it's based on a GWR design, and it isn't actually a real locomotive anyway. But yes, it's a nice locomotive. I can't remember if it runs better or worse than the Midland Rail 11040, but they still run pretty well. They're both very nice locomotives, and as I say, it's similar to the Midland Rail 11 in the fact that it only really performs in the freight galas. This is my favourite locomotive on the layout. I know that you shouldn't really have a favourite of your models, because they're like a mother's child, mother can't have a favourite child, but it's my favourite class, pannier. This is the 57XX, which is different to the class that my actual favourite locomotive is, but it's still a pannier locomotive, and it's Bachmann, so it runs well, good performance. It's pannier 5775. This was the one that was used in the Railway Children, so yet another movie star locomotive. They all seem to be Great Western as well, which is something to prove the Great Western is a good railway, Sam Sharp. But anyway, so yeah, I do like this locomotive. It's a very good runner. it can't really pull as much as the other locomotives can, although it doesn't. That doesn't mean it's weak. It just other locomotives get the bigger trains, usually, and this one has the smaller lot. But yes, it's a very good locomotive, and I would really recommend this locomotive to anyone who wants a Great Western one, because they're kind of unique to the Great Western and have a Great Western feel to them. This is the Hornby Railroad 08 I was talking to you about earlier. This was the main diesel shunter of the layout, however it started to go wrong, so I haven't run it in a while, trying to get it back into service. Kind of want it to be the main runner again, as I do think the 08s are quite a beautiful design of diesel shunter. But yeah, the 06 is the main runner at the moment. This basically sits around static display at the moment until I can get it running again. I think I got this in the train pack, the railroad train pack it comes in, with the 2 wagons and something else. I think it was 2 open wagons and a box van or something. That's what it came with. And so if I ever just leave it in static display with a couple of wagons, those are always the wagons I put it with. It's a nice livery, maybe not. I would prefer it in plain black or BR green or something, but this particular model doesn't look bad, and I enjoy using it. This will hopefully feature in this year's Freight Gala if I can get it up and running. My final 00 gauge steam locomotive that I currently own is 4575 5513 in GWR green. This isn't actually mine, this is my dad's, who bought it. I don't actually know why he bought it, but we were in York at the time, and so he decided to buy it. Incidentally, we were there to see Mallard 75, the autumn gathering, or whatever it was called. We went past the mall shop, and he bought it. So it is currently his, however he never really comes in to play with trains, he's not really into trains, and it is basically effectively mine. I run it as mine. But yeah, it runs well. It's again a main hauler on the layout. I'd say this, the 57XX, Flying Scotsman, and Alton Hall are the main runners on my layout, with other things performing occasionally. And it's not a bad runner. It's slightly noisy, which does put me off it a bit, and it's quite worrying sometimes to hear the loud noise, the creaky noise of the locomotive going round. However, it doesn't put me off entirely from running the thing, and it's a nice loco, and I like the design of it, colour of it, and just overall features of the locomotive. Other locomotives I have include the Queen Elizabeth Hornby Collectors Club 040. The reason this doesn't feature as a proper loco on my layout is that the fact that the motor has been taken out and it just sits as static display or a dummy locomotive, if I'm pretending to double head something. I don't really know why I took the motor out. I was young and didn't really know what I was doing, and now the motor has gone missing, and so I don't know what to do. So it just sits in a static display for now. And the 2 locomotives in the middle and on the right are TT gauge. I think they're trying locomotives, both in British Railways, Lake Crest, and then the obvious respective colours. It's a Ginty, and I want to call it an 08, however it does look different in design to the 08, and its number is 13007, so I do think it's either a 13 class or 09 or something. A lot of the diesel shunters of this style looked kind of the same, so whichever class it is, it's that class. So yeah, those will be running on my exhibition TT gauge layout, hopefully in the near future. So thanks for watching, guys. This is a quick overview of my layout. With currently got all the locomotives positioned on it. Got to tidy them all up in a minute. But yeah, there'll be a proper video of the running session and a layout tour coming soon. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It really helps us out. We want to get quite big, so we can share our love of trains for you, and we want to get absolutely everything we can into the channel. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, or if you just like this video, like it and comment what you liked. And if there are any locomotives that you would like to see a closer look at, that I can start doing reviews of locomotives or whatever you want. So please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.